Welcome back to the Arbor League. I'm Arbor Andy, and today I've got a really nice team to show you in the Open Great League. Alolan Ninetales, double normal. I've been seeing lots of Medicham Bastiodon or Medicham double ghost lines. I've paired them up with Lopunny and Diggersby. So let's hop into the matches and take a look at the team. Hopping into the first match, leading into a Medicham. Very positive lead for us. Our charms will be doing super effective damage to that fighting type, but they decide to dip into Lantern and we dip into Diggersby. Now this is not as much as a negative match as you think. The Surfs will hit for some super effective damage here onto our ground type, but it's not until about the third one that we have to shield, as the Surf doesn't do that much damage. We get to the Earthquake, and if this lands, we can make a play for Switch. Do they decide to respect the Earthquake? They do not, and we can make the play for Switch. They are going to fire off another Surf, but honestly we saw how much damage that did last time. Not very much. It will be the third one that we will have to shield, but they're not going to get to it. We're going to Mud Shot down, and Diggersby takes Switch. That Medicham will be wanting to come back in and look for the farm down. So the opponent's just waiting out their Switch clock. In comes a Medicham, but not before we get to another Earthquake. And this Earthquake doesn't hit as heavy as you'd want it to, but it still does about a third of Medicham's health, just about half. But on the other hand, they get the farm down and come out with some loaded energy. We will have to be careful here because they do have a Psychic, but we're still at full health with our A9, so we can charm down and hopefully take out this Medicham. They will be firing off a move here, and this might be the Psychic, but they're actually running Power Up Punch. The opponent concedes the match, which probably means they were running Ice Punch. Into the next battle. Ninetales up against Gliscor, very positive for us. The Night Slashes will be resisted by our Fairy type, and out comes the Bastiodon, and we have a perfect response for that in Diggersby. And in this match, you can go straight Earthquake. There are no baits, the Fire Punches do absolutely nothing, but the Stone Edges and Flamethrowers from Bastiodon very little. The Earthquake connects, and we can make a play for Switch. This is perfect counter for Bastiodon, because as you see here, even the Flamethrowers do absolutely nothing to Diggersby, and we Mud Shot down and take Switch yet again. That Medicham comes back in, looking for the farm down, but not before we get to yet another Earthquake. This is what I like about Diggersby, because even in the mid-game, you come out with energy, throw that Earthquake, and you get the Medicham to at least half health. This might not be a fully exiled Medicham, as that last Medicham took less damage from it. Either way, they're also running Power Up Punch, which allows us to get to a Fire Punch here. I could have gone for the Earthquake, but I didn't want to risk it. Get that chip damage up before we go down, and the Medicham decides to use their first shield. This is perfectly okay with me. We can come back in with the A9 and hopefully look for the farm down. Coming back in, and the opponent stays in to throw some energy here, and this could be the Psychic. Now I am willing to give up a shield here because they boosted their attack, but just another Power Up Punch, almost getting the farm down. Try to catch another Power Up Punch on the Lopunny, and that double kick does not KO, so we will have to eat another Power Up Punch, which is totally okay with me. The double kick KOs, and all they have is Gliscor. Now, because we're ahead on energy, this next Night Slash will not KO, but they're going to have to save a shield for either this Hyper Beam or the Alolan Ninetales. Gonna see how much this Night Slash does. Not very much to Lopunny. Lopunny hangs on and gets to the Hyper Beam, and they're going to have to respect the Hyper Beam or the Weather Ball that we have on Alolan Ninetales. The opponent lets it go through, and we take the win. Another great lead in our next match. A9 into Altaria. This Ice Fairy is just going to shred Altaria, and the opponent is actually staying in. They probably lagged and didn't want to come in behind on energy, but this also tells me that they are extremely weak to A9 in the back if they are staying in. The Altaria is going to fire off a Sky Attack. A9, we can tank that and charm all the way down before they even get to another move. Opponent waiting at their Switch clock, deciding what to come in with, and it's actually a Steel Wing Skarmory. So we're going to go ahead and throw a Weather Ball here just for some chip damage. The Weather Ball is neutral because of Skarmory's Steel type, and we're going to pivot into Lopunny. And we lure out a Shadow Machamp. Makes sense why they stayed in, as they were ABA weak to A9. Shadow Machamp not going to appreciate these Fire Punches, so we do see a shield. Maybe the opponent's unfamiliar with Lopunny counts as we get to yet another Fire Punch. Now they cannot afford to use both shields here, so they will be letting this go through. Fire Punch doing a solid amount of damage to the Shadow Machamp. Now we will, since we still have two shields, we can safely come back in here with A9 and shield and farm down. We will be coming back in to a loaded Machamp, so we will have to respect it, even a cross chop. that's neutral, will do enough damage where the next counters will KO. It was the Rock Slide. We farmed down. The Steel Wing Skarmory comes back in, and we're taking super effective damage, but not before we get to another Weather Ball. This one isn't going to be lethal yet. Weather Ball connects, and we've got the secret weapon Diggersby in the back with Fire Punch. The opponent tries to get to a move and tells us that they should have TM'd Air Slash onto Skarmory by conceding the match. Tricky lead in the next match, A9 into Cofagrigus. We're going to have to safe swap into Lopunny here, because at least we resist the Shadow Claws from the Ghost type, and we're met with an Altaria. Now, Lopunny can do okay in this match if we land the Hyper Beam, but we're going to see if this opponent decides to respect the damage. Do they respect the Hyper Beam? And they do. Unfortunately, we can't get the damage off through Lopunny here, so they're going to have to go for a move to KO. They only got to a Sky Attack here. They didn't quite make the Moonblast, so we'll see how much damage this does. Lopunny hangs on with the Sliver, and we get to the Fire Punch. The Fire Punch is resisted by Altaria's Dragon type here, but any chip damage here in a match is crucial. Lopunny goes down, waiting out the switch clock a bit, and we can safely come back in with A9. Coming back in with A9, and the Charms are just shredding through Altaria. They're going to have to throw a move here. Will they get to the Moonblast? And unfortunately, they do. Now I can let this go through because A9 is pretty tanky. Moonblast doing about half damage to A9, not too bad. They get farmed down. Cofagrigus comes back in, and we're going to fire off the Weather Ball right away. This will be doing some solid chip damage to the Cofagrigus. Cofagrigus lets it through, and we can directly go into Diggersby here. We're resisting the Shadow Claws, getting notifications during the game, and a Lantern comes in. Now we can go straight Earthquake again in this match here, because now that we have shield advantage up against a Lantern, they're going to have to let one of these go through. Lantern decides to shield, and now they're down 2 shields. This is very unfortunate for them, because as we saw last time, the Surfs don't do that much damage, but since we have 2 shields, we're going to have to shield something. Surf, getting the shield, and we do make the Earthquake, but we lose CMP. This is totally okay with me because, as we saw before, the Surfs don't do that much damage to Diggersby. Diggersby, very tanky, and we get to the Earthquake, and this will one-shot the Lantern, if not getting it very low. Earthquake, KOing the Lantern, and the Cofagrigus comes back in, and at this point, we're okay. I think we can shield the Diggersby once, throw the Earthquake, and we're done. We don't need to catch on the Ninetales. Even if the Diggersby goes down, we can come back in with the Ninetales, and we lose CMP again. And again, this is totally okay with me, because even if they get to another move, we still have A9 in the back. Still kind of healthy and almost at a move. Just waiting for the Dark Pulse to come through. I think the opponent conceded the match here because they knew it was over. They lost CMP, but they knew we were at a move. Earthquake will be KOing the Cofagrigus from this range, so we get to see Digger pose with his greasy little smile there right before he KOs the opponent, and that is a good game. The chats are going away in the next game because we have to battle a Shadow Swampert. The opponent's going to immediately safe swap into the Noctowl, and it's going to be met with our Lopunny. Lopunny coming into the match, 1 wing attack behind, so they will outpace, but that's okay because we can tank 1 Sky Attack from the Noctowl. Sky Attack coming through, doing a solid chip damage to the Lopunny, but we're just going to full send the Hyper Beam. We can flip this match. Will they decide to respect the Hyper Beam? Lopunny loading up. Noctowl lets it go, and it one-shots a Noctowl. Quite surprising considering how bulky Noctowl is, but that Hyper Beam on Lopunny just hit so hard. Now Frostlass comes in, and this is going to be tricky here. They've still got Swampert left, but these Fire Punches are going to be doing super effective to Frostlass's Ghost type. Fire Punch goes unshielded, and all of a sudden this match is winnable. Because now, even if we get to another Fire Punch, which we do, Diggersby can actually tank 1 Avalanche, and we can Fire Punch the Frostlass down and shave the shields for A9. Now in this match, we have to come in with the Diggersby because despite being ice and resisting Frostlass's fast move attacks, we're going to have to be using shields on A9. So we can let this go through. This Avalanche is going to hurt, but we do have to tank it. We need that other shield from the opponent. And the opponent knows this, so we're trying to build up to the Fire Punch. The opponent goes for the catch, and we swap into Ninetales, and this is game over. We're up a shield on Swampert, and we can safely charm down shield once or twice and get the win. We're going to throw that Weather Ball here just to get their final shield. Swampert decides to shield and wants to get that Hydro Cannon off before going down. We've got 2 shields on this Swampert, so they're not going to make another Hydro Cannon. Even if we do, we're up shields on the Swampert, and the Frostlass is in charm down range. Swampert's going to fire off another Hydro Cannon, and we would have been able to tank it, but we've got 2 shields, just a flex on them. The Swampert gets charmed down, waiting for that Frostlass to come back in. They throw 2 Powder Snows, and they're at a move. We're going to have to see if this is the Shadow Ball. Frostlass Shadow Ball just barely survive on 1 HP in a dream, and we get to that Weather Ball. And this Weather Ball, despite being resisted, will be taking out that Frostlass, getting that notification that we won a battle, and taking that win. I had a blast running this team in the Open Great League. I am in the Ace range, and it got me up to the 2300s. It can handle a lot of the Medicham Bastiodon teams, and a lot of the Ghost-type backlines, and also hang with a lot of the meta. Tell me what you guys thought of this team. Leave a comment, and if you enjoyed the video, like and consider subscribing, because there will be more Pogo content like this. So thank you guys so much for watching. I've been Rubber Andy, and I'll see you guys in the next one.